primary mission of the U.S. Air Force's growing F-15EX Eagle II fleet has been and continues to be air-to-air combat, primarily in U.S. air defense. However, operational and test units are laying the groundwork for the F-15EX to also perform air-to-ground missions. Despite its primary mission, air-to-ground capabilities are inherently part of the F-15EX design. The Eagle II is a member of the broader F-15E Strike Eagle family, which derives from the F-15QA developed for Qatar. Last week, the Oregon Air National Guard's 142nd Wing shared that one of its F-15E(S) had dropped a practice bomb for the first time during a trip to Mountain Home Air Force Base in Idaho last May. The 142nd Wing, based in Portland, Oregon, is currently the only operational Air Force unit flying Eagle II. Air crews dropped a total of 24 BDU-50s and 12 BDU-50SXs during 10 missions without a safety incident and with satisfactory ratings, according to an official press release, and the same weight as the 500-pound class Mk-82 series bombs and the 2,000-pound class Mk-84 series bombs, respectively. In current U.S. service, bombs in the expanded Mk-82 and Mk-84 families are much more commonly used in combination with payload laser guidance or joint direct attack munition, JDM, GPS-assisted guidance kits. The BDU-50 and BDU-56 remain useful tools for training more general bombless bombing skills for air crews and for handling air-to-ground weapons on the ground. This includes things like conducting targeting procedures and safe release from the aircraft, as well as loading and unloading bombs from the aircraft. The basics are crucial for squadron members. The 142nd Squadron, which previously flew the F-15C Eagle without air-to-ground operational capability. It's also worth noting that the F-15C is a single-seat aircraft, while the F-15EX is a two-seat aircraft. However, the Air Force's plan, at least initially, was for one pilot to fly the Eagle II, something we'll discuss later. The 142nd Squadron did have some personnel with air-to-ground mission experience from previous deployments, but this was still a new mission set for the unit as a whole, requiring a new training program. 3 pilots from the 142nd Squadron attended a 9-month training course to understand the science behind dropping bombs and the tactics involved. They were tasked with establishing a program to train the wing's other pilots in the fundamentals, so they could take their first steps into dropping munitions, according to an official press release. Earlier this year, the Wing's weapons loader technicians also visited Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada, where they worked with an F-15E model assigned to the 59th Test and Evaluation Squadron to achieve certification in bomb loader. The Air Force Test and Evaluation community has validated the F-15EX's air-to-ground capabilities. This testing is now taking place overseas. Earlier this month, the 85th Test and Evaluation Squadron flew an Eagle II from Eglin Naval Base in Florida to Kadena Air Base in Japan to support an ammunition loading training event. An F-15E Strike Eagle also participated in the training. Images released by the Air Force on Monday show live GBU 53/B Small Diameter Bomb 2 SDB-2 bombs, also known as Stormbreakers, among the munitions ground personnel at Kadena practice loading onto the jets. 2 active F-15EX squadrons will be established at Kadena, replacing units previously based there that flew F-15CS. The Air Force is deploying F-15ES and other fighters to the base on a rotational basis to fill temporary vacancies. The Air Force previously announced plans to establish F-15EX squadrons in the Naval National Guard of California, Louisiana, and Michigan. The budget the Air Force's proposed budget for fiscal year 2027 outlines plans to dramatically expand the total size of the Eagle II force, which could ultimately result in 1 or more squadrons flying jet, as you can read more about here. How this will change the Air Force's plans for deploying the jet remains to be seen. In its fiscal year 2027 budget request, the Air Force continues to emphasize that F-15EX aircraft will be primarily used in air defense and attack missions in operational squadrons of the Air National Guard, ANG, and Air Combat Command, ACC. However, they also note that the F-15EX will execute the Homeland Defense mission and provide combatant commanders, CCDRs, with a strike package capable of operating in highly contested environments, HCs. As TWZ has reported for years, it was fairly clear from the beginning that the F-15EX would ultimately assume a multi-role role once it entered service, despite its emphasis on the air-to-air role. This also raised the possibility that the Eagle II could be flown with a Weapons Systems Officer, WSO, another pilot with multi-role skills, or a mission specialist. In its backseat, much like the F-15E, we don't currently have conformal fuel tanks, CFTs for the F-15EX, but there are plans to get those. And then when we have those, we can start discussing putting all kinds of air-to-ground capabilities into the aircraft, potentially putting a WSO or other expert in the backseat as well to allow us to do some of the multi-role capabilities that are physically impossible on the C model. Colonel Michael Kozdurka, now retired, and then serving as commanding officer of the 142nd Squadron, told TWZ in a 2024 interview. So, the F-15EX has incredible development capabilities. This is truly exciting. The F-15EX is capable of mounting the same continuous fuel tank, CFT, as the F-15E, which give the aircraft more weapons mounting points and provides additional fuel. The current status of plans to acquire CFTs for the Eagle II assigned to the 142nd Squadron remains unclear. The first pair of jets for the wing were delivered without CFTs. The image of an F-15EX release at Mountain Home for air-to-ground training in May, seen at the top of this story, indicates that the jet at least still lacks one. The standard configuration for Eagle II test jets includes a CFT, as seen below. Essentially, what this will do is transform a wing with a mission that is, frankly, in critical condition into something that is America's newest fighter, and will remain relevant with that aircraft for decades to come, Kozdurka added at the time. General Kelly made it very clear in his public address here that the F-15EX will have inherent capabilities that we need to leverage from day one, including limited air-to-ground capability. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Waller, then commander of the 40th Test Squadron at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, told TWZ in 2024. Waller assisted current General Mark Grace Kelly, then head of Air Combat Command. All of this makes perfect sense given the F-15EX's inherent ability to carry large payloads, including air-to-air and air-to-ground munitions, over long distances. The Eagle II can also accommodate large payloads. These are attributes that have made the F-15E one of the most sought-after platforms in the current Air Force. Pressure on the aging Strike Eagle fleet, exacerbated by the loss of a total of 4 such aircraft this year during operations against Iran, may prompt the Air Force to consider further expanding the Eagle II's air-to-ground role. Planned additional F-15EX purchases are likely to require the retirement of at least some older F-15ES, as well as other aircraft. In 2024, Congress blocked the Air Force's attempt to reduce its Strike Eagle fleet by about half. There is already substantial overlap between the F-15E and F-15EX communities, as highlighted by the 142nd Wing's significant air-to-ground training exercise at Mountain Home in May. Air-to-air missions will likely remain the dominant role for the F-15EX fleet, at least in the short term, but work is underway to ensure the jet can also perform air-to-ground missions if needed.